Well, what a way to start off the end of the week. Last night, the United States said they would begin operations dropping bombs on ISIS and dropping food and relief supplies to those people stranded by ISIS. The done to stop genocide, which will make anybody happy about doing that. It's been a strategy that's been out there for a long time, and we've sent 500 plus advisors to Iraq to assess the situation on the ground and to try to salvage what we had created back in the previous administration. So, like we said yesterday, gold, crude oil, and the financials would be up, and equities would be down. So equities got hit pretty hard off that news. Gold and crude rallied. Russia came out overnight, and Putin said he'd like to de-escalate tensions in the Ukraine, and equities have come roaring back and financials have sold. So the market is driven by the news. There's no way to get around that, and talk of peace will bring financials, gold, and crude lower, and talk of war will take them higher. So we have a breakout right here at 126 even, and we got pretty good support down here. The market is selling. Yesterday's close was 25.30. Last rotate down last night was 28.29. So we ought to have pretty good support, 28 to the buck. So we'll make buy 1, 29. And buy 2 will be 25.21. Now, just because Putin said that he'd like to de-escalate the tensions in the Ukraine and Russia, doesn't mean that's going to happen. So again, it's talk. And if you put a hedge on, if you bought treasuries, bought gold, and you bought crude, you probably aren't going to dump those positions off of what Putin said. You're going to see some sort of proof. So I think we can go a little bit lower. The buy is either 5 or better, or against the buck, in my opinion. And then we'll see what happens. Now, on the upside, we've got volume at 11. We got a value area high at 14. We have the last rotate up at 13. So this 12 to 16 area is probably pretty good resistance. So we'll make sell 1, 11 to 15. And then sell 2. London's high was 17. Maybe get stops above the overnight session high. So maybe let's sell at 17 to 21. It's kind of a cute trade, cute positioning, but that's what we have right now. Obviously, the closer to 20 we got it, the better we'd like that trade. So we're down to the news. We have productivity this morning. Plus 1.4. That's good for both stocks and financials. Economies grow long-term off of productivity. Unit employment cost plus 1.5 at plus 1.6. That's not so good. Means you have to pay more for your labor. That means inflation could be coming into it than wholesale trade inventories at plus 7. And that either shows they can't sell what they manufactured, or they're matching increased sales with increased inventories to support those. Our sales to inventory ratio is at the low end of the range at 1.18, so manufacturers are running pretty lean inventories given the sales. So I don't think any of this news will really play today. I think the focus will be what's going on in the Ukraine, what news reports out of Iraq on our first airstrikes, and those first airstrikes will come from carriers in the Persian Gulf. And then I don't know how involved the neighbors, the countries want to be over there. But Saudi Arabia would certainly, that'd be interesting if they came out of Saudi Arabia because they'd be against Sunni forces. So we'll just have to see where the airstrikes come from. The logistical, the food drops will come out of Germany, perhaps from Spain, and if we're talking with Turkey, they could come out of Turkey. Now, Turkey yesterday was attacking ISIS forces in Syria. So, when we look around the globe, you got the South China Sea with China trying to test the West's resolve. You have the fighting between the Ukraine and Russia that does not seem to be diminishing. It has just escalated in the Middle East with the United States stepping across. So, pretty unsettled world that we have right now. Peace. If we were to come in and cancel our airstrikes in Iraq, then the financials would come off, gold would come off, and crude would come off. So that's where we are. We're tied, as always, to the news and the reaction to such. But yesterday's post-market briefing pretty well foretold what happened over last night, and when the announcement was made, the markets did what we said they were going to do. And again, this just reinforces our saying, if you want to sleep at night, you're long treasuries, long crude oil, long gold, and you're short equities. That is not a winning trade strategy, but it's just a fact of life. Won't make you any money, but if you're ever in a situation in trading futures and not holding assets, if there's a chance that the drumbeat of war will get louder, you don't want to be short gold, crude oil, or treasuries. And you don't want to be long equities. So Putin spoke, and the markets came roaring back. And if the news comes out of the Ukraine that we lose another fighter, or that fighting breaks out in another city, or the fighting escalates in the current cities in Ukraine, the market can come back pretty quickly. Okay, we got the breakout here at 17, so we'll make 17 to 13 by 1. The knob spread naturally widened last night, and it's held those gains. And then getting stops below 10. We're covered up against that, so we'll make 5 to 9 by number 2. 26, 24, 28, bottom of value is 24, so selling this 24. I'd like to do it a little higher, like 27.31, lean against the buck, sell 1, and then 3 to 7, but we may have to put the sell on a little bit lower if we don't get anything out of the Ukraine. Now, the large houses, the large people have people on the ground over there. They have contacts. They don't necessarily have to have a person in the Ukraine or in Iraq, but they do have access to people that are closer to the action than Reuters and the rest of them are. So the big players, once again, because they can afford it, will have access to better information than we will. Sooner than we will. Okay, gold, 13.10 to 12. When we left yesterday, we had a buy at 10 to 12. There you have it, folks. Asia opened up and the market took off. And unfortunately, we had sells above the market at 15 to 17 and then 20 to 22. And we have a high of 24. So we'll make 20, 22, sell 1. Number 1 support holds, 10 to 12. Number 2 resistance. So the area you could have gotten short, then 25 to 27 will be sell 2. Don't you love that 1s to 2s, 2s to 1s, threes back to ones. It works really, really well. On the buy side, we'll give it a little room right here. Last rotate down was 12, so we'll make 10 to 12 to get started by one. But it may take 12s to 13 to 15s. Don't know about that. And buy two will be 5 to 7. So the news that'll drive gold today will be have tensions actually de-escalated in the Ukraine, and Russia, of course, is not directly involved in the fighting, so their ability to control the situation on the ground isn't perfect. And it's fairly easy for the Russian-backed rebels to countermaneuver within certain guidelines, no matter what Russia says, including shooting down civilian jetliners with impunity. This is, Russia's going to quietly go back in and clean up that particular mess, so the principals aren't around to deliver damaging testimony. But these things take on a life of their own, and it's pretty, when you start a fire with dry tinder all around you, sometimes it's pretty hard to control it. Okay, the crude oil is telling us that the market may be facing some supply issues, but probably not. So we have ourselves a seller at 98.50, and that should give us a buyer at 97.50 if the dollar price range holds. Now, who in there, does anybody think with the airstrikes coming that they're going to go home short over the weekend in this contract? Probably not. And so the sell side, while we can trade lower in the rest of it, that's not too hard to do. They probably won't press it. Very hard. So I think we'll find this, we'll find buyers on the breaks if we do get a break in this contract crude oil. The euro's up off of this news, and the euro is up after some initial selling where we saw the low in Asia off of the comments that war is not coming, that they want to de-escalate tensions in the Ukraine. So the euro rallies back. The euro's been hit pretty hard, so you can see right now we got a buyer below 33.50, and we have a seller above 34. And we'll leave it that way. So 34 plus or minus will be sell 1, and then sell 2 will be 15 to 25. Buy side, we broke it out at 67. We're at 90 right now. So this 60 to 70 will be buy 1, and back to our 40 to 50 for buy 2. Some of the articles out overnight on the Russian ban of foodstuffs says Europe will be hit harder than I thought it would be off of food imports, and a lot of European food processors have expressed their displeasure with Russia's imposition of those bans, and how it will hurt the European economies, which are stumbling along. I mean, you buy medicals, you buy food process, you do all that stuff that to protect your stock portfolios when you think things are going to get bad. So most people think that Europe will go into a recession off of this. And Italy is already officially in a recession. I'm going to do a Q split on the E-mini. If we look at this area, last rotate up was 15. Then we had 23. So this 15 and 20 to 23 is where resistance is. So nothing. I mean, Russia wanting to de-escalate has brought the stock markets back. The Iraqi, if you think about it, the Iraqi news, us bombing from carriers and safe bases and dropping food, probably isn't much of an escalation in the war. So the selling, the reaction from the selling is, somewhat predictable. We had the breakout of 03, and we're at 10. So this 5 area, plus or minus, this 3 to 5 will be buy 1. May have to pay 5s to 7s. No. But structurally, that's the trade. Last rotate up in J was 13. The F period high was 15, so we'll make 14, 16, sell 1, let them get stops above 15. Then 19 to 21 for sell 2. It is Friday. If they bring the market down and they don't break it into the week short covering to lock in profits, would be a pretty good trade. Buy 2 will be 1900 plus or minus. So any negative news, if the ISIS shoots missiles at our airplanes when they're doing their attacks or they're bringing supplies over, and you can do drops from above 20,000 feet. It requires a lot of sophistication and skill to do that. So anything where you're less than 10,000 feet above the actual ground, you're subject to being shot at by shoulder-fired missiles, and they are pretty damn good, pretty accurate, pretty effective. Those range especially below 5,000 feet, AGL. Actual ground level, AGL. That's a pilot term, so flying term. You learned something today. Okay, it'll take at least 20 minutes to get everything up and posted. I'm going to get busy on that. In the meantime, good trading. See you as soon as I can.